Welcome to the Three Martini Lunch, a national virtual networking event. And yes, I do have to read that every single time. It is powered by Rockstar Connect. My name is Stephen David Elliot of the Greatly Sleep Deprived. Yes, we wanted a puppy. Yes, it was our decision, but I am definitely paying the consequences here. Driving while asleep is far worse than drunk driving. So I just may add drunk driving onto the list to capitalize on the whole event. I'm happy everyone can be with us here. It looks like there's a few people that are running a little bit late to the event. Shame on them, but they should be on shortly. So the world is sort of going mad. We are in October. We started doing this event in March. We've done it every week. We have not missed a week of doing the Three Martini Lunch. On Three Martini Lunch, our panelists have shared their philosophy, their views on business, on networking, on relationships. And it's really, really been quite deep. And I think that's because we do use a structure here. This is not just your typical, we're going to get on a Zoom call and, yell at each other. Also, everyone's been selected to be on here because they are good, not only in real life, but they're also good at networking and sharing wisdom on a recorded call. So I'm complimenting those of you that are here. Okay, so the structure of the Rockstar Connect event is based on the Success is Contagious model. Way back in 2006 or so, when we had the Great Recession, followed by now, I guess, what is called the Greater Recession, depending on where you are on the economic chain, or whether you were employed or not, or whether your business can, work virtually. We did a great event, and sort of the story, and I'll share that with you because we're also waiting for other panelists to come on, is during that Great Recession, people had to pivot, and they did not know how to pivot. I owned a bookstore at that time. I owned 4 bookstores across the U.S., and I had just opened up one in the North Raleigh area in an upscale shopping center near a lot of homes where you would expect to be successful. And then the recession hit. And I sort of dug down and participated in my business, and was able to pay my rent, pay my employees, and pay myself. Which, who remembers back to the recession, how that wasn't so easy at the very beginning. I was able to accomplish that. Unfortunately, the rest of that shopping center, which I was paying top dollar for if I went under a rental agreement in 2006, right, Diego? In 2006, I was paying top dollar to be there. The shopping center was empty. And the developers of the shopping center came to me and they said, look, we have a little bit of a problem here. We build shopping centers and then we sell them. We don't run shopping centers. And now because of this recession, we can't sell it. Not only that, the bank is breathing down our neck. They said, we have to reach a certain occupancy level here in order for them not to just shutter it down. And that's going to impact you, Stephen, because even though you are being successful here, we're just going to have to close down, and you're going to have to figure out another way to do your business. That being said, we always see cars in front of your business. You are paying your rent on time. You're not calling us saying, hey, I need a rent reduction or anything else. Can you help us get people into the shopping center? Because we really don't know what to do. We don't know anything about marketing. So I said to them, look, I have a few ideas. I just need a little bit of a budget to get this going. First of all, you have an empty shopping center. One of your problems is how do you get people from one end of the shopping center to the other? You have one tenant in Kalamazoo, and you have another tenant out in BFE. How do you connect them in the shopping center? Which, Diego, that's always a problem, even in a good economy when you're just building a shopping center. So I had them put in directional signs, just like you see in Disney World. So an arrow would say, you're at the bookstore, all the way down on the other end. If you follow this area, you'll get to the delicatessen. I also started a music series because there was a music store there and they had a really good grassy area. Every Friday night we had live music free to the neighborhood, so people would walk to the shopping center. It became a destination. I also sent out, it was at the beginning of social media, a petition on Facebook that said that our neighborhood needed a farmer's market. And I got approval from the state to allow us to have it there at this center. And it was great. We had 14 entrances right near major roads. We had over 35 farmers. And, me being taking advantage of it a little bit, I put the sign right at the front of my door as if you had to walk through my front door, out my back door to get to this farmer's market. So, of course, it helped my business too. But I also knew a lot about networking. So I've been networking since my early 20s. I started a networking event at one of the restaurants for the local shopkeepers there, and also to bring in people from the rest of the community that may need to network. And I'll tell you, it was a really tough time then. Our first meeting, we had 12 people come to this restaurant. We all sat around tables, and we immediately used the success is contagious structure, where we all shared our successes with one another. And we did it somewhat similar here in the panel because we only had 12 people, we could do that. And then we broke off into teams and we would have the topic of the week and we would solve that topic. And really, we were really solving each other's problems because there were people coming to that event that said, I have absolutely no business. I have a company and I have no business. Does anyone here want to hire me? I know how to use Facebook or I got people to work in my bookstore. They helped to set up this farmer's market, which required a lot of work. And that event grew to 80 people coming to that event. People were driving from several hours away to come to that event because they were so able to make meaningful connections. And when we would ask people to share their success at that time, some of them, their only success was that they showed up, that they actually got out of bed that morning, because they had no one to sell to, they had no one to buy from, and they got out of bed and they came over to the Successes Contagious meeting. And I remember, one gentleman who was about 6'6", the size of the door, bright red hair, ex-NC State superhero, getting up and just crying in front of everyone that he was so happy that he had this fellowship of networking to help him get through this very, very difficult time. And ultimately, the event was actually a victim of its own success, because together as a group, everyone in that group became busy again. And I would have to say way far advanced of the rest of the economy. The shopping center that we did the event in went to 85% occupancy, which is, for a new shopping center, that's great. In a recession, that's unheard of because they're usually shuttering shops. I told the developers, I said, you're going to have different types of tenants. I know you have a vision of what your tenants are going to be. You're going to have to be a little creative. But keep in mind, a lot of new businesses came out of that recession. Who would have thought that we would have had, gyms for children inside of shopping centers, or places where people could play games, video games together. It was unheard of. Commercial insurance companies opening up inside of shopping centers instead of office buildings, wanting retail space, because now they could afford to buy the retail space. Why not have a sign out on the street to bring people in? But it was a terrific event. It really was a great event, and we took turns, being the leader of that group, and it set the format for where we are today. And in many ways, I would say, though, everyone's not being impacted negatively or equally by COVID. We are all being impacted. If you sort of take a step back and you say, well, what about our children? How are they handling this? It's very hard for them. What about your parents? I used to see my parents every single week. I would have at least one meal with my parents every single week. Just doesn't happen anymore. And when I talk to them, I talk to my dad, and he goes, I'm going batty. I don't even know how to work the electronics in my house anymore. because I'm just sort of, slowly falling apart here. People need that. So I feel that, every panelist that's on the show today has been on here multiple times. You're active in your community. You're doing networking the best you can, whether it be virtually or whether on this program. I will really want to applaud you for your success in doing that, because it's so important. The government didn't tell you to do that. They didn't tell you how are you going to hold your business together. Maybe they offered you a loan on good terms, but you didn't need a loan before. Right? You bootstrapped it all. But we're here today. Now we're talking about October. So I don't even know how many events we've done now. We must have done 30 of these events. We've done a lot of them. And we've accomplished a lot. But we have a great question today, and I want to share the question at the beginning so that we get some really good answers by the time we get into the second hour. Are you guys okay with me sharing it today? Because this one is like a thinker, like last week. Do you guys remember last week's question? Those of you who were on? Oh, it's such a good question. How do you go from a no one to a someone to an everyone? That was the question. To the only one, rather. So I stand corrected. Sarah is the co-founder of Rockstar Connect and the creator of all the processes that allow us to do events all around the country, which is fantastic. And the first person to do that, really, to ever put a system together like that where we can do an unlimited amount of events. And what she is learning is that everything is an event. So she's out there helping a lot of our clients organize their businesses, because like in real estate, a transaction is an event, right, Diego, Lisamarie? You have all the logistics before the culminating event, which is the closing and the handing over the keys with all that drama. But nobody knows about the 50 or so people that were involved in that transaction. In fact, you probably only know a few people in the transaction, but Sarah's great at putting all that type of stuff together. So the question, back to the question for this week, and we're not going to answer it now, so don't jump in and try to answer it. If we could have a magic wand and do anything together, what would that look like? And that could be, let me express a little bit more, that could be you doing a project with Sarah and myself and Rockstar Connect, or with the other panelists here, or with your network in general. So we're going to give you a little bit of flexibility there, so that way we have some different answers too. Domenic, does that sound like a good question?
Sounds like a great question.
Okay, so I'm going to have you remind me of that question. I wrote it down, but I will forget it. And just in case the internet plops out, Domenic leads a similar event every 2 weeks. Here it's called the Great North Carolina Virtual Mixer. People drop in for all the country, and he uses the same format we do for this event. And I have to tell you, it's a lot harder because he has no idea who his panelists are going to be, right?
Nope. I get a pretty good idea. I have a consistent crowd. Several of the folks on here are on it, and then a number of people across the country, really. Andrew's there, Clint's there, Mark's usually there. So, yeah, good people.
Well, are breaking out right now. It's sort of scary hearing what's going on at the White House with everyone getting ill. But thank God we haven't heard about anybody dying yet, and I hope that doesn't happen. But we're out there, we're doing events, and we're meeting people, we're taking precautions, we're wearing masks. We actually gave up on cloth masks altogether, the ones that are all fancy, because they're such a pain in the neck to keep track of them. We've been buying disposable boxes of masks by the hundreds, because I am getting out there. I mean, yesterday I drove for a real estate transaction 3 hours for a transaction. And many of my competitors would say, why would you do that? Why don't you just stay, in your path? Well, I'm going to make $12,000 on that transaction. With, Sarah's help and my team on the back end, the logistics are nothing for us to do a transaction. So we move very quickly. I showed one property, so I'm not showing any more properties. So 3 hours, let's figure that out. That's 3 hours I'm going to put in it. $4,000 an hour, I can live on that during, the second Great Recession. So those of you who are listening to this, get out of your lane, break some rules. Now's your opportunity to do it. Andrew, this is really cool. I found out that from showing time, as an agent in North Carolina, any MLS that's associated with showing time, which is all MLSs, will make appointments for licensed North Carolina agents. So you don't even have to reach out to the other agent now to get a pass to go make, basically go print money. You for that, Andrew? You want to go print some money? I think he's talking with someone else.
Absolutely.
Hey,
let's do it.
Yeah. Isn't that great? Did you know that?
I had no idea, but I only have half the space everybody else does. I got the ocean on two sides.
Yeah, so, you can drive into Raleigh and come do a transaction.
I don't want to sneak into your backyard.
I'll send you an MLS sheet. We'll go have lunch.
Perfect.
It's that easy. Hey, so let's get into the sharing of success. Lisamarie has not been on for a few weeks. She's been very busy out in northern Nevada, not only selling commercial real estate, but working with her network, doing coaching, learning, bringing back information to her tribe through social media. So we're very happy to have you back. It's clear to me because I'm a major social media stalker. So I know what basically all of you are doing, at least to a certain extent, or what you want to know you're doing. So I know your successes, but why don't you, in your own words, share what your successes have been in the last 7 days?
In the last 7 days. So yes, I have been busy, and I've also been traveling. I've been to Mexico twice in the last couple of months. I'm a travel bug, as Stephen knows. I make a travel plan for every year, and COVID put a kibosh on that. So Mexico is one of the places that you can go right now that's safe, and very happy to have visitors, I will tell you. In the last 7 days, my success is I created an offsite program with my team, and we put our 2021 goals together for the individuals in my group and also the team as a whole. We're also, as a team, we're reading the 12-week year. Has anybody here read that book, 12-week year? Domenic, it's an awesome book. So we've used the 12-week year strategy to implement fourth quarter goals. So that'll be our trial run. And it was awesome to meet with my group offsite to talk to them about creating their life by design. So this is not just about making enough money to pay the bills, Stephen. This is about what are the things above and beyond our monthly expenses that we want to do. And even though we're in COVID, we still need to plan for these things. So that's like vacations, buying rental properties, paying down debt, taking your kids, to college, buying a boat, buying a second boat, whatever it is you want to do. So we put all those numbers together and come up with what are the monthly, weekly, and even daily activities that the real estate professionals on my team need to do in order to meet these goals to have a life by design. So it's exciting to be planning for next year. It's going to be, hey, there it is. There's your book, 12-week year. Mm-hmm. And to have a strategy, Stephen, that is cohesive. And the feedback I received from my group, from my team, is that when they looked at the goals in the big picture, they weren't really as overwhelming and difficult as they thought they were going to be. So we're arm in arm working on the individual goals and the team, and we're all moving in a forward direction, and it's very exciting.
That is very exciting. In the book, that Julia Roberts did, the movie Eat, Pray, Love. Were you an inspiration for it, or
maybe a little of both, Steve? Great to see you all.
Great to see you too. That's terrific what you're doing, because teams are asking for different things now. There are Sarah and I, we do not have a real estate team. We have Rockstar Connect amongst a number of other businesses that we do, but so many people want to work with us in real estate as a team. And in the past, what they were asking for was they wanted leads. And I think what they're recognizing now is that the leads that they've been promised are not really leads. I could give them a phone book and they're about the same quality. So teams will frequently give leads, and those leads can't be developed into business. It's more about meaningful connections. So people said, look, I would join your team just to have coaching, just to have access to your philosophy on how to develop meaningful relationships and turn them into business. So I'm wondering if that's going to be sort of a paradigm shift out there, and maybe that's something that came out of COVID, that people recognize that people are just on the internet. Just because they're looking at houses doesn't mean they want to buy houses or equipped to buy houses or will ever buy houses. Instead, deal with the people that need your services. Thank you so much for being on, Lisamarie. And I think you have an event coming up in January. Is that correct?
I do. I'm so excited to be back on the schedule for January and talking to my Rockstar family about doing some Successes Contagious events in the interim. So I'm excited about that.
That's terrific. Success is Contagious is very powerful. We see what we do with it here. So I'm excited that you're going to be doing that with your team. So Domenic made some great connections for Rockstar Connect week this week, and we're hoping that they come to fruition very soon. Domenic, when is we're getting ready to do your event soon as well, as soon as we get you a location?
Yeah, so we're looking at doing it sometime in November. Hopefully we have the numbers where they need to be able to do that. And I'm looking forward to seeing some people in person, safely with, all the protective gear and precautions that you need to have an in-person event. But, I think that the location we've been discussing, Stephen, is really going to work out well because the amount of cleaning and sanitizing that they do in that location, and I think it'll turn out really well.
Right, and no more tongue kissing at events.
Yeah, that seems to be a bit problematic, Stephen. We tend to gross people out when we do that, don't we?
Yeah, it's sort of an expectation.
I know.
Domenic, what has been your success in the last week?
Oh my goodness, there's so many. Obviously getting closer to having an event is a great one. I picked up a couple of new clients. I had Rhonda on another event that I am part of putting together, and she did a webinar on LinkedIn best practices, which was awesome. Got to play an excellent round of golf with Clint yesterday on David Riddell's dime. So that was a lot of fun too. My co-host for the RTP Business Networking event was sponsoring a golf tournament, charity golf tournament yesterday. So it was a lot of fun. And all the people that we got together with and being there was all part of the connections made from Rockstar Connect. So very fortunate to be able to do those sorts of things. Things are still going along great. Can't complain.
I always love that expression, can't complain. Whose parents taught them? My mother said, if anybody ever asks you and you don't have something good to say I can't complain.
I have lots of good things to say, but one of the things that you hear when you talk to people, if they're not in the positive frame of mind, like a lot of the panelists and the attendees of this event is you do hear a lot of complaints about all the things that they miss or they can't do, or if they could just do this, things would be all better. And I know that's a problem for a lot of folks, that they're kind of feeling down. But we, as people who think with the type of mindset that we have, we can share some of the ways that you can look at things from a different perspective and garner positivity. Heather and I were talking just this morning. It looks like we're going to have her brother staying with us for a little bit of time, and there was some thoughts of like, oh, how are we going to deal with this? And we just started talking about all the positives that could potentially come out of that, and it changed our mindset about the event. So that's just a small example of what you can do when you just look at things in just a slightly different way. Change your perspective, changes your outlook.
It's a good old-fashioned problem solving.
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, Lisamarie wants to travel. She didn't just fall into Mexico. She got on, she spoke with her travel agent, or she went on the internet, and she found that this would be a very easy place for her to travel to.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Sarah and I, we're going down to the Redneck Riviera next week, down to South Carolina, which is the most open of all open states. I don't think it ever closed at all. And we're going to, do all the fun things that they do there. We've never experienced it before, and we're going to have a great time. It's just doing that little research and pivoting. Now, I know Rhonda Sher has had I spoke with Rhonda this week. I had a long call with her, I think, maybe last week, Friday. And she just has some incredible, life-changing things that are happening to her that she allowed to occur, whether it was COVID or not. Making connections, working, opening up her mind to things that I had to say and vice versa, which is always important. But Rhonda, would you like to share your success for the week?
Yeah, so I had a great time on Domenic's webinar, which was really fun. I appreciate that. Done a couple of very cool podcasts in the last week. And also my face reading course is getting ready to launch, which is really going to be fun. On the personal side, I'm so excited because we're about 60% packed. So we're the move date for concurrent closings. We're closing on our house October 23rd. We're closing on the new place in Carlsbad on October 23rd. And part 2 starts. And I think the thing that's really interesting is I did a dream card probably 2-3 years ago. And I put a picture of a house by the beach in Carlsbad on my dream card. And that's actually the house that we're going to end up buying, that we are buying. So, the power of setting goals and doing all of that. And what we plan for is, basically the retirement of our dreams. And so my husband's making a transition from the corporate world into doing some entrepreneurial type things where he's going to be doing some consulting and actually we'll work together a little bit, which will be kind of fun. We figured out that would work.
Have a networking event in Carlsbad, a Rockstar Connect event.
Yeah, I can't wait to start that when they open up. We're nowhere near where you guys are, let me tell you. It's still very closed down in California.
Well, I think here we're forcing them to sort of open up, whether they're going to let us or not, because they're not being very clear on messaging on what we're doing. And we're smart people. We know how to wear masks and wash hands and all that good stuff. And in North Carolina, you guys out of there in the country may not know this, but really North Carolina is the epicenter of these type of events. They were really, started here in North Carolina. That's a story for another day. But congratulations, it's fantastic. It's another example of just, COVID didn't stop you from making these fantastic changes. In fact, it may have accelerated it.
It actually did because, when the world went virtual, I was already doing LinkedIn 24/7 anyway. And what people realized was, oh my God, I'm getting checked out and I'm not dressed for the party. So for me, it just, blew my business up, which was great. So I got to do more of what I love and empower more people. That was the greatest part of it. And the other thing that I figured out is, we'll have our 40th wedding anniversary actually next week, October 12th, right? That we could be together 24/7 and still like each other. I mean, that's kind of crazy, right? But it works.
Right. Yeah, well, that's terrific. I mean, Sarah and I, we work 24/7, for like 6 years now together. But, putting COVID spin on it, it's a whole other spin on it. And we said, Sarah said, when we were younger, if you were in a stressful situation, you could really just go buck wild, go crazy, go do something crazy. And I was like, why don't we just do that now? Why can't we do that now? Especially since there's not so many eyeballs on you now. You can go out there and really do some fun stuff. And, that brings me to Andrew Pierce, who's the king of fun out on the coast. Andrew, did you turn yourself off as soon as I introduced you? Are you there? Don't leave me hanging.
What's up, Stephen?
Hey, Andrew. Welcome back. It's been a while. we're talking about fun places to be, and out on the coast is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the successes that you've had in the last week?
Over the last week, I was able to get most of the hardscaping done at the farm for our upcoming wedding, as well as get the entire pasture bush hogged so I can mow it. And in all honesty, the real estate business just keeps kind of coming in from the marketing I've done throughout this whole COVID thing.
So basically your funnel's filled and new stuff is coming in all the time.
Yeah, or the things that came in, 3 months ago are starting to actually turn into other stuff. Like you mentioned earlier, leads are kind of no longer an issue to generate. It's what you do with the attention once you have it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And you do the 360 tours, so you're an innovator in that as well.
Those and just as much social media content as possible to stay connected to people.
Excellent. Well, I can't wait to hear what your answer to this week's question is in the next hour. I'm sure you'll have something good. Mr. Mark Sher. Are you there, Mark?
No, I'm not here.
Okay. Well, it looks like you're there. So Mark and I, we speak several times a week. So I know what a lot of his successes are and you guys don't. But would you like to share your successes in the last week, Mark?
Oh, sure, Stephen. And hello to everybody that's here. One that got a call from someone that somehow they found me through social media marketing in a very small town in the middle of Idaho. And I spoke to him back in August, and Friday morning on my computer, hey, where you been? And I said, I've been in Florida. Where you been? He goes, I need to talk to you. So it's one of the things that I'm a big believer in, and I think I've said this here before, so those of you that it's a repeat, I apologize, but when you're doing marketing and sales, I just break it down real simple. There's two types of people. There's the dog and there's the cat. The dog's going to jump on you. You're going to push him down. He's going to jump back on you, keep licking you, and make you crazy. Some people will buy from someone like that. I like being a cat. I think cats are way more successful where someone shows interest, I'll rub up against their leg once or twice. If they don't pick me up, I'm gone. And if they want me, they got to find me wherever I'm perched and pick me up and start scratching my ears. And I can tell you that this guy never would have called me back if I was a dog. And, got to know him after talking to him for a couple hours on Friday, and going to be able to do something for him that his financial planner, and he's kind of like, how come they didn't tell me about this? And I said, well, to be honest with you, it's one of two scenarios. Either they didn't know, because this guy's also a CPA, and he goes, how could they not know? And I just kind of went through my analogy. You guys may have heard this before, but getting it a refresher isn't bad. I was asked folks, how important is nutrition? And most people know important super nutrition. And I ask them, you got any friends who are medical doctors? You do? Great. Ask them how many nutritional classes they got during the course of their whole medical school experience. And the answer is going to be either this or this. And when you talk to CPAs, what do you think they went to school for? They went to school for accounting, assets and liabilities, FIFO, LIFO, and the tax code. They're not taught how money really works. Most of them have no clue. And they're telling people how money really works. My favorite thing is talking to someone that's got a large practice, that's a CPA, and after they're done talking to me, they just kind of go, I've been telling my clients wrong for the last 20 or 30 years. They go, yeah, you have. And that's where we live in. So that keeps me very busy teaching people financial literacy. And and that's it for me, pretty much. And obviously, you and I have been working on a project which, it only taken 2 or 3 years, which looks like it's finally coming to fruition. So that's exciting. And that's
the best things are complicated and sometimes take a lot of time.
Yep. They usually have the best payouts, too.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people are looking for education now. They're slow in their role, and they want to get information. Are you guys finding a lot of people reaching out to you with not so much opportunities, but they see you as a leader and they have questions for you, and they want to see how they can work with you?
We absolutely get a lot of people who, want to find out what it is that we do. I can just tell you, you know Renato and Bill. Anyway, Renato's from Brazil, and he came to work with us a couple of years ago. He's been here for 15, 20 years, but he speaks fluent Portuguese, or Brasileiro, whatever you want to call it. And it's funny because someone that works for Northwest Mutual kind of said, I'm tired of losing clients to you. What is it that you do? And she's also from Brazil, and she's coming to work with us now. So there you go, Steve. Perfect example.
That's a great success. Diego, welcome. So we talked a little bit about real estate, commercial real estate, etc. So if you want to jump and chime in on any of that, you're welcome to. But also, what has been your success in the last week?
So great to see everybody again. And normally when I'm on here, I try to talk about successes outside of real estate. But we're on the 6th day of October, and I've hit 2 triple crowns so far this month, which is basically getting a new listing, putting one under contract, and closing one. And I've done that twice already in 6 days. So that's really a measure of the teams that I have and the great folks that I work with and the clients that work with us. I'd love to be able to do that 3 more times in the 3 next weeks coming up to finish up the month.
Or just take the next 3 weeks off, take a vacation.
That's just not me. But I know, I'm sure my wife would love to hear that.
Send her on one.
I'll go with her.
That'll work. Great. Mark Roberts, I've been seeing online, you have a new endeavor. You've started, you're now a publisher of a magazine. That's a great success, I'm sure. Do you want to share with us a little bit more about that and any other successes you've had in the last week?
Absolutely. I'd love to. Thank you. Yes, we're starting the magazine Northridge Living, which is going to be a private magazine that's in this golf course community where I'm happily living here. And right now we're in what we call the ramp up, trying to get enough people involved, targeting the people that are going to be advertising in the magazine so that we can make them partners with the community. So we're looking for things like anyone that wants to deal with a luxury, larger home. So we're looking for the roofers, the granites, countertops, the hardwood flooring contractors, some luxury realtors, anything like that that's targeting that market.
The name of a whole bunch of agents that specialize in that area.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I can give you the name of a whole bunch of agents that work that area specifically.
I would love that.
There are agents that have worked that area for, since they were born.
Right.
40, 50 years in.
Yeah,
and they almost have to be in that magazine. If you haven't reached out to them yet, they're going to be mad they didn't have the opportunity.
Absolutely, because it's a fantastic word of mouth community. So if you build your business by word of mouth, this is a great business to be in. So
did you join the club there?
I have not.
That's the next step.
I know. I get Clint jumping out of his skin right there, going, "Oh, I can finally get Mark out golfing. I've been nagging him forever." So that'll be the next step.
That's a good segue to Clint. Clint, what has been your success in the last week?
So I'm gonna second Dom at that. Playing yesterday a beautiful course at 12 Oaks, and we were lucky enough to know David Rydell, so we could have that opportunity. Him and Big Frog Customs out there representing pretty well. So also another signed contract this week. So that's a success, and that's through networking, and that's it. So that's how, I guess I would say probably about 90% of my sales have come so far in COVID, and I have more sales on the board than anybody in our company at this point during this time. So very proud about that. And personally, the last 90-day challenge started on October 2nd. So I'm very excited about that. I lost 17 pounds last time I did it back in March, and hope to do about that now. It would take me down to my goal weight. So that would be amazing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's some great news, especially on the health level. I had stopped losing weight on what I was doing on the intermittent fasting, so I decided to stop looking at the scale for like a month. Just keep on doing what I was doing, but not.
That's a good idea.
Did a month, because what I'm understanding, it's the weight loss can be glacial when you're doing it this way. But I mean, it took a long time to put it on. Sometimes it's better to take a long time to take it off. And after the month, I saw, quite a bit of movement on the scale. So I may not look at the scale for another month.
Well, you should also probably try to do something different and shock your body a little, because I mean, you're probably just plateauing with the same way that you eat and same times and whatnot.
I don't want to shock my body. I've lost a lot of weight. I've lost this whole entire panel in weight in my entire life times 2. And what I have found is when you can overdo it, like with anything else, with exercise and with diet. And when you stop, one little thing can stop you from doing that. You have an injury and now you can't run 20 miles a day or something along those lines. You need your body, in my opinion, to find its natural weight in a way, in doing something that you can do all the time. And then you can add those things as necessary. But I guess if I could, what are we talking about? A magic wand and lose like 50 pounds like that, that would be great.
That would be fantastic.
It would come off with the magic wand. It, some jerk out there would hit me with a magic wand and put it back on. I was listening to a comedian yesterday, and he, he's a little on the heavy side. So he just tells everyone that he meets that he used to weigh 400 pounds. That's the first thing he says. He didn't weigh 400 pounds. He's always weighed what he's weighed. But this way, they don't give him any pressure about his weight, because it'll look like you lost, 230 pounds or so. So I think that's a very good strategy. Okay, so we have the question of the week. If we could have a magic wand and do anything together, what would that look like? Who wants to jump in on that and be the first person? Or I'll pick someone. You want to do that, Clint?
I'll go, since I was already talking anyway.
Okay,
so what I'd love to do, as far as business goes, I'd like to get the North Hills networking crew together at a Durham Bulls game. I know it's not really the place, but like the big patio at the Durham Bulls game. During a baseball game, everybody's out and about. I just think it would be a great time, man. I mean, that's the thing. That's the kind of stuff that I miss.
They've been trying to get us to come out there and do an event for probably 10 years. I'm not a big sports person, but if we wanted to do that, we could do that. I don't know if are they letting people?
They're not playing baseball this year. So no minor league team is playing baseball this year. It's only the major league, and it was that shortened season. So that's not going to happen this year at all.
The Durham Bulls is not a major league team.
No, they're not. They're a minor league team.
Okay, I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah, but it is a great time, and they have so much space between them and Tobacco Road up there. And, Mark already has a connection to Tobacco Road, so that might not be a bad idea. They have a huge patio out there that overlooks the baseball fields. So it's a great spot.
Probably do one of our big events with all the hosts in the North Carolina area.
That would be awesome.
Andrew would come in for that.
Heck yeah, he would.
I'm sure. Okay, so Rhonda.
So if I had a magic wand and I could do anything, I would say, Stephen, let's take.
So what would we do together?
To do together, yeah. It would be to have every single person that's connected share their best resource with everybody else. So, because, even think about it. How many people don't know about Rockstar Connect, which is like the most incredible resource, the people that you meet. So if everybody just shared one resource, imagine how powerful we could all be together.
Yeah, that would be terrific. I mean, our biggest dilemma for Rockstar Connect right now is everyone is reaching out to us about Rockstar Connect. They have a lot of interest in it. That is our dog crying, our little puppy. So I guess he's going to come out to say hi. But, because the country shut down, it's hard to do live events. And although the virtual events are, they're good, they're not the same thing for the majority of our attendees. I'm just hoping that, very soon we can have events everywhere. Like, we're going to have in North Carolina and in Florida. Like in Florida, where Mark is ready to do an event. We contacted his venue. His venue said, we're having events. We're limiting them to 6 people. We're limiting events to 6 people. Or like 6 people. 6 people. So bring your 6 people and network together. We'll be happy to host you. We'll buy them drinks and everything else. So obviously we have to wait another month, or we have to find another venue. But he's been using that same venue for 4 years. People love that venue. So that makes it difficult. Or, everyone's ready to go to an event, and then you get on the news that the entire Republican Party has COVID. It's hard to convince your wife to let you go out to go to an event. I'm sure, as soon as that happened, Dominic's, Heather probably said to Domenic, hey, why don't you take it a little easy this week in networking? When
you are prognosticating something that actually did happen, yes.
Right. She probably said you need to sit 20 feet apart from people now and wear a garbage.
My wife said I could go. I just can't come back.
Right. You sleep out in the car. So that makes it, really difficult. But the beautiful thing is what Sarah has done is she has just kept our staff incredibly motivated and busy. They're reaching out to hosts all over the country, getting the temperature of those areas. It's not like you can go on the news and get a weather forecast of what individual states are like. And she's keeping the team active in social media and helping them develop their skills and the processes so that they can deliver better events when they're able to deliver events. And from our standpoint, we have not let go any of our staff. They've all been paid throughout the entire COVID situation. Whether we get paid or not, they're getting paid. I've become a super, one of those crazy real estate agents, again, that's chasing all over town. And boy, it was a lot easier when I was 5 years younger than I am now to do that. But, it's great to hop in a car and, put down the convertible top and put on Sirius XM and listen to some great music and then get paid on the other end, just for taking a car drive. Because the real estate seems to sell itself. People need it, They want to change a pace. It's they're saying now's the time. Now's the time to try something new. Okay, so Lisamarie, if we could have a magic wand and do anything together, what would that look like?
Yeah. First of all, 6 people is not a networking event. That's a picnic.
Right. And, and for us, it's a small picnic, right?
Yeah, it is. And, Stephen, I wanted to say I'm really glad that Kim is back on your power team.
Excellent. I'm glad.
I love her. She's amazing. Yep. Hi, Andrew. So I actually am a magic wand. My last name is Wand. My license plate on my BMW is Magic Wand. So I happen to have a magic wand right here. I haven't seen you or Sarah in a long time, Stephen. So I think because we can have outdoor events with people here in Reno, as of last week, we can have events of up to 250 people. Wow. So even though we can have those, Renoites, Northern Nevada people, we like to be outside. So I would love to have a Rockstar Connect reunion outdoors, a big party, and get everyone together that's involved with Rockstar Connect. And I'd love to do some panel interviews with people that have been really successful within Rockstar so that they can talk about the things that they do that make them rise to the top, the cream of the crop for Rockstar, and share some of that knowledge with each other. So, because I met you like 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago now, Stephen, right, in Raleigh. And
Raleigh,
I would love to. Raleigh. What's that?
Didn't we first meet in Denver, or did we meet in Raleigh?
We met in Raleigh first. Great. Yeah. But I'd like to have a safe and fun, exciting event with all of the Rockstar people just to celebrate before it gets cold, and share our great qualities and the things that we do to be successful. Because I feel like people need support right now. Just like I was talking to you earlier about working with my team, I've moved out of the transactional piece, not completely. I'm still a top producing commercial broker, but I'm really into leadership and helping my people and my team and my clients be successful. I know I'm successful. I want to share that and be of service at this point.
Well, that's great. And, so how did that transition happen? Was it something you wanted to do, or is it something people started to ask you for? And you said, now I really do have to share this because people are asking. Maybe it had more value than when people were asking for it, or how did that come about?
I would say that it was a combination of things. I had an intention. I wanted to be a better leader for myself, for my family, for my community, for my team, for my clients. And I also had people come to me because I've been studying personal development and being at the top of my field for a long time now. It'll be my 16th year in real estate in Northern Nevada next month. And so people started asking, I started traveling and doing professional speaking. And now my passion is taking all of this information that I have and the experience that I have and presenting it to people in a very authentic way. So authenticity is so powerful. And I feel like that's my next step, also our next step as a group all over. We just have to, the best way to bring our story and to help people is through authenticity, being vulnerable, and just putting ourselves out there. So to answer your question, it's been both. I've been invited by the universe, I think, just to step up and be a leader, and I'm ready to do that, and I'm learning every step of the way.
You know, it's interesting because authenticity and honesty is really the easiest way, especially in a sales situation or in a coaching or mentoring situation. And I mean, I could show you on my phone 4 texts today where people said they want to accomplish something and they're going about it in the most crazy way, like not direct way. And part of it is I think they don't want to be mean or they don't want to seem desperate. But I spoke to them. I said, if that's what you want, why don't you just ask for what you want, or say what you say and say what you mean, and let the cards fall where they are. Why do you think it's so difficult for adults to be authentic like that? Because I think if you ask for something, that's how you're going to get it. And that's how Sarah and I got together. I was very, very clear of what my goals were. And she would either say yes or no. Right, Sarah?
Right.
But otherwise, you would have never known.
That's true.
Thank goodness she said yes.
Thank God. Thank God.
Well, part of that, Stephen, you bring up a good point, and a lot of people don't know what they want or what their goals are or where they want to go. So if you don't know where you're at right now, how are you going to know where you're going? And then fear holds people back so much. How many times have we had something we wanted to say, we wanted to ask for, we wanted to share, and we hold back because of fear of how that person will respond or maybe even retaliate? And so when I feel like with the authenticity, when you get to know who you really are and you feel comfortable with that, then it's okay to put yourself out there, because it's not that you don't care, but you're on a mission. You have something you want to share or accomplish. And so it almost feels worse to not do that, right?
I mean, when you surround yourself with great people, you shouldn't worry about retaliation.
Yeah.
If you're concerned about retaliation, you're probably hanging out with the wrong group of people. Step out of that situation right away, right?
Well, don't you even know maybe people on this panel or people watching even have people in their own family that it would not be safe for them to express their desires or their viewpoints. So proximity is definitely power, and surrounding yourself with those wonderful people. You know, they talk about the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you do have people in your sphere that are retaliating, especially around things like politics and COVID right now, then yeah, that's an opportunity to take a look at who you're surrounding yourself with.
Excellent. You know, with real estate, one of the things that happens in real estate, there's always new people coming into real estate. And when there's opportunity, there's thousands of them come in and get their license. A lot of them have no idea what they're doing.
Scary.
You notice that?
Yes.
I just think it would be so much easier in a transaction if you can just tell someone, I think that you're new and, you know, I'll help you in this transaction. You know, we're partners, and not just in real estate, but in other things in general. And we have Mark who's getting into publishing. It's new to him, but he can ramp up very quickly because he has no problem telling you what he doesn't know. And I know that's one of the great things that Mark has. Mark says, this is what I know, and this is what I'm good at, and this is the other things I want other people to help me with. And I do that all the time when I talk to Rhonda. I say, Rhonda, you know, you're bringing something up I know nothing about. So let's just back up a little. Can you explain that to me? And because I don't know. So that's part of being authentic, is saying you don't know.
Yes.
And that probably is what makes you a good coach. A lot of people say, well, why do you want to spend time coaching me or mentoring me? I really appreciate it and I want it, but why do you do it? And I said, well, I'm not great in a classroom. The best way I can learn is to teach. Because as soon as I'm teaching and I find out that I don't know about something, I'm going to go to, someone like Lisamarie or Mark or Rhonda or Domenic and say, hey, can you educate me on this? Because I want to share this information.
Yeah, exactly. I posted on social media this morning, walk with the wise and become wise. And my caption there was proximity is power. So making the decision about who you want to surround yourself, we make that choice every day when we wake up to have a mindset of gratitude. It's a great day to be alive. Or we can get up and say, the world's going to hell in a handbasket. I'm just going to put the covers on and go back to sleep. So we always have choices, even when we feel like we don't. And I feel like one of the reasons I like being part of this group is the people on this panel and people watching, most of them make really good choices every day about their mindset and how they're going to show up for themselves and others.
Yeah, 100%. Because we're servants, basically.
Yeah.
And in that regard, someone, I recruited someone today in my firm. They said, what we love about your firm is that's actually the slogan of your firm, to be a servant. And so you have to, it says right there, our agents make more money because they give. So like, if you're not willing to give, you're not going to be successful with us. Okay, so I mentioned your name, Mark, so it'd sort of be unfair to not let you respond to what I said, but am I nailing it right there? You're a person who's good, who knows a lot, but also what you don't know.
I've been known as a know-it-all, so yeah. But yeah, I'm very, very comfortable telling you when I don't know something.
And that's how you make your partnerships, and that's how you work with your network, correct?
Absolutely, because if you think you know everything, you're wrong. So being able to identify those spots and saying, okay, this is where I need to bring help in. You're going to have a much better product, service, life, whatever it is. I've gone off on my own enough times to know when I was faking it. And it's much nicer to say, okay, I need to call. I need to call a Dom in. I need to get Rhonda in. I need to, get people in around me to say, okay, how do we do this?
There are some things I will not even, attempt to answer because I just don't. It could be explained to me 100 times and I don't get it. So I'll call Mark or I'll call Rhonda, the two Shers, and say, hey, can you talk to this person, explain this concept? Because I know it works. I just don't know how it works. And that's like a powerful thing. So let's jump into the question of the week with you, Mark. And hey, Greg, you're going to get to hear the question of the week, so you'll be prepared. If we could wave a magic wand and do anything together, what would that look like? And I'd like to do 1 million projects with Mark because what do they say? Your mouth writes checks that your ass can cash.
All right. I'll put that on my business card next.
Because when you do that backwards, it sounds really weird.
It is.
Say that backwards.
I just want to get invited to Clint's event at the baseball game. I think that's fantastic. Yeah, I would love to get like a Junto club or whatever Franklin called it way back when. Just a bunch of us together just to work on projects. I don't even care what those projects are, to Stephen's point. I have a couple of folks that I just target going, I want to work together. I don't know what the project is, but I'm ready when it happens. Clint and I have gone around the same circles on different times. In fact, he just referred another client over to us. But I want to find a way where we can integrate that. It's great trading things back and forth, but I'd love to get something where, a couple of us can work together. And I wish I hadn't.
The beauty of networking, the beauty of Rockstar Connect is, all of us are small business owners. No, in this group. No matter how much money you make and how many transactions, we're small business owners as defined by the government. That being said, we have very big ideas. And when you join an organization like Rockstar Connect or other organizations where you maintain a large network, you have access to resources that big corporations don't even have because you're not surrounded by yes men. In a corporation, you may have a lot of people, but they're just regurgitating back to you what you want to hear, as evidenced by all the mistakes that we're seeing big corporations make nowadays in turning off their audiences. Hey, thank you for your input, Mark. That's excellent. I just want to mention the question again because Greg and Jacqueline have jumped on. Greg out in California and Jacqueline in Raleigh, North Carolina. The question of the week is, if we could have a magic wand and do anything together, what would that look like? So sort of chew on that for a while.
Keyword together.
Together. Did I not say together?
You did.
Okay, keyword together. Because the magic wand's powerful, but the group is even more powerful. So, hi, Holly.
Hey
Welcome.
there.
So I'm going to go over to Andrew now, and I'm going to give Andrew the question of the week, and let's see what we get out of Andrew. If we could have a magic, we've done some things together recently. I understand you had success with one of the referrals that I made you.
Yeah, I finally got John's property closed. That was entertaining.
Well, that was great because he was very happy that you did that transaction and handed me 2 more transactions here in the Raleigh area on the basis of that transaction. And, that was just a referral, between friends. No money, passed hands there. It's just like, let's help this guy achieve his goals. I mean, basically, you sold a junkyard pretty much.
It had a couple trees on it, but yeah, there was a lot of junk.
A lot of junk, and other agents just could not handle that. And you got
a molded RV, a house that had never been finished and been sitting there half exposed for 10 years, and a shipping container with the roof rusted out full of moldy furniture.
And you found a buyer that wanted all of those things, amazingly.
And we got within about 20 grand of asking price.
Well, that's amazing. That's great because it would cost more than $20,000 to remove that stuff from that property.
Yeah.
Andrew, if we could have a magic wand and do anything together, what would that look like?
It would. I think since COVID, get the core people that I've met through Rockstar Connect. Like before virtual stuff, I didn't know Domenic or Clint or a lot of people at the level I do. And Lisamarie will remember this. Go back to sort of that core legacy group we had in another mastermind program where no matter what initials are behind your name or what brokerage you work for, that felt like your family. It felt like your team where you could kind of ask any question. Everybody knew what you were talking about, and there was no stupid question. You'd have to explain it. It almost felt more like a super brokerage than any individual brand. And it was like a weekly meeting, and I love those every week. I got excited to go to the office just for that.
I mean, it'd be great to do a regular event like that where, no one's trying to sell you a $20,000 program.
Right. It's just, hey, how can I help? Or here's what's working for me. Just a weekly collaboration. That's always felt more like a brokerage to me than anything I've been with.
Yeah, so you're a big fan of masterminds.
I know I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I like to be in the room where smart people are and be able to pick their brain and ask that question to that person.
See, I would argue that you're a very smart person and you ask excellent questions.
You're so smart, Andrew.
Yeah, so maybe your smartness is not showing off your smartness. Maybe that is, your superpower.
I mean, I like to, learn from somebody else making a mistake and getting yelled at. I learned that in the kitchen a long time ago.
Right.
You watch somebody else get yelled at and get fired, and you go, well, shit, I'm not doing that.
Well, I mean, you have a good, a good Southern mentality. I mean, that's the way we do it in the South. We do a lot of observation. We say, hey, I'm not going to say you're wrong. Let's see. You might have a brilliant idea. Let it happen. If not, then we'll say, bless your heart.
Yeah, something like that.
You guys that are not from the South, you probably don't hear that word, bless your heart, but that just sort of means you're a jerk.
Or we'll at least sit on the porch with a drink and watch it unfold.
Yeah, it's like, you're an idiot. Bless your heart. At the same time, it's not a compliment. It's like, who let you in the door? Bless your heart.
Yeah.
Or you're so pretty. That's another good one down here there, Stephen. You're so pretty. You can always, it's like, oh, you're so pretty.
You're so precious.
That's another southern thing.
Okay, so Clint, if we could have a magic wand and do anything together, what would that look like?
I've already answered. Mine was the baseball game.
Baseball game. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I apologize. If you want to jump in though and add anything else, you're welcome to. Diego.
All right, so there's been a lot of really good serious answers on this. So I'm going to put a moment of levity. If I can have a magic wand and have you all do the same thing together with me, check the chat window.
Check the chat window. You know, I don't ever look in the
We
chat
would
window.
all start singing the lyrics to the Brady Bunch right now.
Oh gosh, I don't even know that. I guess you would have to. I guess you don't have a magic wand there, unless I mean.
No, but
Are we ready to go? Here's the story of a lovely lady who was bringing up three very lovely girls. All of their hair, like their mother, the youngest one in curls.
You're too young to know that,
Story
Dominic.
of a man named Brady who was busy with 3/4 of his own. They were 4 men living all together, yet they were all alone. Dun-dun-dun-dun.
I think that's enough.
This fellow.
Thanks, Diego.
We had to have some
Appreciate
fun.
that.
Had to
Is that
have some fun.
split screen? You know, it sort of reminds me of Hollywood Squares. You guys remember Paul Lynde from Hollywood Squares? You're all too young.
Circle gets a
By the
square.
way, everyone always says Domenic is too young. Domenic just looks young. Domenic is old as dirt.
That is a fact.
I want you to know he is about 15 years older than the way he looks. So just so
That's
you're
true.
ready.
That is true.
Okay, so for the people that are late to the game, why don't we go around and get your successes, and then we'll jump in and have you answer, the question of the week. I'm going to say the question of the week again. Katie, you didn't hear it, and Holly, you didn't hear it. The question is, if we could wave a magic wand and do anything together, what would that look like? Okay, and the operative word, according to Sarah, is together, and that could be with us, with your network, or with your tribe. Katie, what has been your success in the last week?
In the last week, I announced I'm launching another free webinar on fundraising, and I was on GoFundMe's webinar on fundraising recently also, and that was really successful. Lots of people turned in. Oh, Kate, someone wrote, Katie can't believe 27. I'm actually 37, so thank you. Not 27. But so that's good. Getting people to register for that and all that. So yeah, that's been my success for the week. And if I could wave a magic wand and have everyone do something together, I guess it would be everyone would donate and help fund all of our bikes. That we need.
So, last week we said we would buy a bike, and we haven't done that yet.
Nope.
So can you just make sure that you reach out to us this week and make sure that happens?
Sure.
Is everyone aware of what Katie's not-for-profit does? Well, why don't you just tell everyone again, because there might be some people listening that want to buy some bikes here.
Sure. So my nonprofit is called Going Places, and we provide new custom bikes to every single child at once in the low-income elementary schools and big surprise bike reveals. So we're giving 400, 600 bikes at once, and we have given, by the end of this year, about 2,000 custom bikes, locks, and helmets to disadvantaged kids.
Wow, that's an incredible accomplishment. We can't wait to buy our bike this week.
Thank you.
To make sure it happens. So you got to grab us and make sure it happens.
Okay, I will. I'll text Sarah.
Okay, terrific. She'll just give you a credit card and you can make it happen.
Perfect.
So, Greg, welcome to the show. Long time no see. I hope everything is well. It's a little rough out there in California, right?
Yeah, the world's deciding that we're its toilet, in every way, shape, or form. Fire, smoke, everything is going on. It's like, it's unhealthy air. It's kind of a pain in the rear end. But you know what? The good thing is that things are starting to get straightened out over here a little bit. So it's not that bad. The good thing for my industry is that real estate has always been holding really, really strong. Every agent I'm talking to out here in my neck of the woods everyone's like, dude, it's my best year ever. So there's always that silver lining to everything, but it's I don't really want another event right now. I could really go the rest of 2020 without another mud ball thrown at me.
I mean, it hasn't been an exaggeration then, because I'm showing a lot of properties to people from San Francisco here now.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming here, but I have to tell you, they're here and they go, it's not California. They go, this is not They go, I think that they're thinking that they can just magically move to the other part of the country and be happy. It's not, you can't duplicate California, can you?
No, but in some ways you want to, some ways you don't want to, right? And so if you're going to be making the move out, if you're making the move anywhere, you got to research where you're going, what it looks like, the people there, the culture, the activities, the landscape. I mean, if you want California, stay in California. I mean, North Carolina is a beautiful area. It's just a different vibe. That's all.
So in California, are there opportunities now since people are moving out? Are there opportunities? Like in New York City, opportunities now?
Yeah, I mean, San Francisco's rents have dropped by 30%. So we went from $3,700 a month for like a studio down to about $2,800. So we're seeing a nice little reduction there. We're seeing a lot of folks now, they don't have to be, commuting down to Silicon Valley or anything else. A lot of companies are letting people work from home, as you all know. People are getting out of here. They're going. I mean, I was driving to the city last weekend, and we saw nothing but moving trucks all over the place. It's a unique experience to kind of witness a lot of that. But then and that's in certain neighborhoods, people are making mass exodus. Other ones, people are just locking down. My girlfriend, she bought a house in the city and she's remodeling it, so she's not going anywhere for a while. And there's a lot of folks like that. There's a lot of construction happening in the city as well. So a lot of people are leaving, a lot of people are staying.
I mean, it's a cycle too. I mean, this is a time of year when people are moving anyway. This is like the delayed spring season, basically, because people who were on the sidelines, now they're making their move. There's probably just as many trucks moving in as moving out.
You know what? There's just a lot of trucks. That's the one thing I can tell you, is a lot of trucks. We're seeing a lot of folks come out to our neck of the woods because instead of living in a dense urban environment, they're coming out here. They're getting the larger pieces of land. They're multi-generational homes being built on the properties. A lot of them are going with wells, solar. Some of them are building victory gardens or whatever else. My parents are doing a lot of gardening and creating their own food. A lot of folks are getting their own chickens, getting them some old, like maybe a sheep or a goat or a cow or something like that for either milk or meat. And eggs for the chickens. And people are really what we're seeing is that people are just getting done with this whole lockdown and COVID. They're just sick of being told what to do. Like the condo development that I live in, we're all adults who live here, but yet they treat us like children and make determinations for us. And I think a lot of folks, after everything that's been coming down, people are just like, and this is my personal experience, so if anyone has a different point of view, I'd love to hear it. But it's just like, people are just like, F you, we're done. Like, stop treating me like a toddler. I mean, I can make my own decisions. And so it's interesting. It's all
California nature. I mean, to make your own decisions. You guys are cowboys out there.
We were. Now we're all suburbanites. But we're seeing people move down to Belize, down to other places in South and Central America that are American friendly. It's really fascinating to watch. It's just kind of, my buddy, he's been doing Tidal forever, and he's been watching and logging where everybody's going, and then he'll go to these other locations and look at these other places around the country where people can move, and he's saying that they're just absolutely gorgeous for a fraction of the cost of what you're having to pay here in the Bay Area. You can live a very nice life.
California is just something, though. We're on Netflix, they have that show Nurse Ratched right now, and have you heard about that show? Mm-mm. It's like the prequel to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Nurse Ratched was the nurse and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and it's sort of like her origin story. And they film a lot of it in Monterey and in Big Sur.
Oh, nice.
And it's so amazingly beautiful. It's like nothing that we have here on the East Coast.
Yeah, Monterey is gorgeous. I grew up in Monterey, Carmel. Those are my areas. We have a cabin up there that's been in the family for 150 years. We always joke it's one step up from tent camping because it's super remote. But those areas are just jaw-dropping. I mean, Big Sur is that's another level of plan right there.
Yeah, I mean, Big Sur, it probably has some of the wealthiest people on earth probably live in Big Sur, I would imagine.
Hey, can I ask something, Greg? Did you say $3,700 a month for a studio apartment?
Yep.
Okay.
No, I didn't misspeak.
I thought you said.
And we always look around and I'm like, you really want me to pay $3,700 for something I can touch all four walls by standing in the middle of the room? And that's really shifted. And a lot of us, we saw a lot of apartment buildings or high-rise condos go up. And these things are $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million condos. They got great views. If you get up to the higher echelons, you're like double-digit millions, 10, 15, 25, $35 million, properties. And they're just sitting there vacant. A lot of them are just sitting there vacant. really
for $3,700 a month in Raleigh, you could buy, a very substantial penthouse apartment.
Yeah, you'd be living in those new ones in North Hills that they just built.
Or an extremely significant, home in the best neighborhood for $3,700 a month. That would be about your mortgage.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I just showed some people from California. They wanted to see what they could get for $2.1 million. It's hard to find something that's $2.1 million here in this market. But that would get them in one of the best neighborhoods in Raleigh, North Carolina, a home that's 8,769 square feet on an acre with a swimming pool. And not only that, if you were to buy it, the builder would basically tear the whole thing down and rebuild it again to make you happy with the spec home, to get you into a $2.1 million home. Anything over $6
million, I can get you a private island.
Right?
So, Greg, how much is that studio if you wanted to buy it?
You're going to be, anything that you really want to live in anywhere in San Francisco, you're going to have to be spending a minimum of about $1 million. When I was helping one of my past clients, we were looking at properties over there, and I'm talking like something you could blow on and push over next to the freeway everything needs to be gutted. That's a minimum of $1 million. If you want to get into some decent neighborhoods, you're going to be paying, 1.5, you'll be somewhat decent, $2 million, 2.5, 3. Now we're talking, we're stepping up, and then we take that next ratchet up, and we're up in the $5-6 million range. And now you're looking at some really nice properties. But like where my girlfriend she bought a $1.9 million home, which she's gutting to the studs right now. But then there's a 4.9 right around the corner, and so the house right up the street was on the market for 1.7, and that's probably going to go for 1.8, 1.9, somewhere in that ballpark.
I'm sure those comps will help her though in the long run, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that type of market, your job is buying houses. You always have to be upgrading your house because that's the only way you're going to make a substantial amount of income.
And that's what she did. She bought a property in another area called it's called like neighbors, more or less Excelsior. It's more of an Asian market. And she bought a house there a couple of years ago, gutted it, redid it, sold that for 1.75, which I couldn't believe that thing got 1.75. Moved over and just went lateral. Her mortgage went up I think $500, and she's in like one of the best neighborhoods in the city that she's gutting. It'll be a $3.5 million home when she's done. But it's just like Stephen, like what you're saying, like buying homes and then turning them, burning on them every 2 years, 2.5 years, whenever the market's right, and just taking your 250 plus whatever you put into it and move on to the next project. You'll just keep stepping up in this marketplace, which is
you have to. That becomes your retirement when you're at the end of the rat race, because you are going to be in a rat race.
Mm-hmm.
You have a substantial amount of equity at that point.
And then you move down to Arizona. Bye.
Exactly. Then you move to North Carolina and you buy a house for $1 million, and it's a $10 million home here in the Bay. But it's just, I love North Carolina. I've been to Raleigh a couple of times, and I think that vibe over there is just absolutely incredible. Except for it's too humid.
I think that what we need to do is you and I probably need to have a joint show for people that want to escape from California, like the Escape from New York, and create some sort of referral situation in that regard. That way you'll list their home out there, we'll get them a home there, and we'll get some referral money out to you.
Like a coast-to-coast real estate podcast. That would be pretty dope.
It's going to be the next HGTV
show. It'd be a
show.
great show to follow up with them. Did it work out for them? I mean, Raleigh has a lot of people that think like California, innovative, a lot of entrepreneurs in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Right.
But it can be extremely
and with everybody being able to work from home now and practically being forced to move from home, what's the point of continuing to live in California, at that point?
I mean, it's like there was a famous – yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I'm a fifth generation Californian, and so I've been around – my bloodlines go deep in this state. So for me, it's like uprooting like my entire family is here, minus my brother. So it's like where am I going to go, see my nephews and nieces and my parents, they're not getting any younger. So I have a good friend of mine she's trying to get me to move out of California very aggressively, which is, I'm just like, I don't feel the need to go yet. I mean, but the cost of living, politics, weather, everything is really factoring into that potential decision making. I think a lot of people are doing the same thing.
Probably more the people that are not native Californians that are probably moving out, because as a native Californian, it would be very difficult to leave there. I'm following a real estate agent. He has a team in Las Vegas and he has a team in San Diego, and he is now living in Kansas.
Who's
and
that?
running both of his teams. Sean Hasselman, do you know him?
I don't know.
He was a Rockstar Connect host.
I don't know.
Yeah, he bought a.
Looks like we lost Steven there for a moment, which means that everybody has to finish their drink.
Drink?
My internet connection is unstable. Okay, I think I'm back. My internet connection was unstable, apparently. Shay Hasselman. And he is running his team completely remotely, which is possible now. I'm selling real estate all over the state of North Carolina. In fact, I had a lead for the mountains this week, and I referred it out. And after I referred it out, I really regretted it because my client is used to my level of service, and he's not getting that level of service out there. I should have just said, you know what? They're buying a property out there. Why don't Sarah and I go to the mountains for the weekend and sell them a house? Enjoy the mountains. Yeah, Greg, we should talk about that. But here's the question about doing something back and forth, some sort of show on that. If we could have a magic wand and do anything together, what would that look like?
End all this division around the country. It doesn't matter. And just end the division. This is horse shit. Excuse my language, but we're all human beings. Let's find common ground. Let's just get back to what we do. Let's stop, let's start loving on each other a little bit more. Everyone has got amazing attributes and qualities. Is there injustice in the world? Absolutely there is. But how we react to it is going to define us and going to define our future. And I haven't really met a person I really don't like. I mean, there's a few exceptions, but I mean, for the most part, people are genuinely good creatures of all walks of life. And so that's what I would say. Let's get back to let's stop fighting and start drinking beer together.
A lot of these divisions are being imposed on us. A lot of it is fake. If I concentrate just on what my friends are saying, they're my friends. Some of them are going to say some boneheaded stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They just really are. And I'm going to say some boneheaded stuff, and Sarah's, on social media, and Sarah's going to say, hey, Steven, that's sort of idiotic. Maybe you should remove that. And I go, okay, I'll argue with her for about a half a second. And then I just say I deleted it. I take her at that. But, when you see these posts that are on, on a news program and a thread like that, like your local news or the national news, like on CNN, I think so many of those comments are fake. I think it's like trolls that are trying to incite people. You go to look at their picture, they don't have pictures, or they have fake pictures, and they're just really trying to divide us. And really, we're not too different in the majority of our opinions. I think most people have common views.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were to follow what the media is saying, it's like we're completely alien to one another. And
yeah,
I agree with you, Greg. That's absolutely not true.
I see a lot of folks that every race, every creed, every nationality, when I'm out and about, everyone is polite to each other. How are you? Good day. May I get this for you? Can I hold the door? How can I help? And I just don't see what's being manufactured. I'm not saying everything's fake. I'm just saying the manufacture of the level of division, I think, is hurting us as a humanity. It's hurting us as a country. Or do we have working points we need to work on? Absolutely. No one's ever going to be perfect. No government's ever going to be perfect. No business is going to be perfect. But we can do a damn better job than what we're doing right now. That's all I'm saying. That would be my wish.
And all of us are on a panel. And the people that are on this panel and and attendees at Rockstar Connect events, whether you know it or not, you're a leader and people are looking up to you. And you guys do a great job of representing yourself. So, Jackie and I never discuss politics, and we speak to each other every week. I doubt she knows what my politics. I doubt I know what her politics are. When she goes on social media, she's just telling people, you know what? I don't care what your politics are. Be courteous to one another.
Yeah.
Right? Is that what you do, Jackie? Am I reading that correctly? Because you have to go on it. You have to balance yourself on a tightrope. You have a foundation. And that foundation helps a lot of people. You don't get political.
No, and for me, to each his own. I know what I believe, and I'm not trying to impose those beliefs on anyone, and I respect everyone's opinion. And, you know, if the world could do that, I think we'd be in a much better position right about now. So there's no need to, you know, try to discredit people, or you believe what you believe. And as long as you live your life right, what those people think about politics or anything else, that's their views. They're entitled to it. And you've probably heard this before. Opinions are like a-holes. Everybody has one.
And they all stink.
Yes. Got it. And they all stink.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. But I'm all about humanity. I don't care, you know, about politics. I don't care about it in the sense of where I want to argue with someone about it. I care about it in the sense of humanity.
You know what, Jackie? There's something very unique. I have a good friend of mine. His name is Gene Volpe. And I've actually two guys that should probably be on these panels, by the way. But Gene and I were talking, and he when COVID originally hit, he was challenged by a friend of his to do a hashtag challenge to lead. And basically what it was is he just went live every day for 30 days. You know, it could be 2 minutes, it could be 20 minutes, but it was just showing, it was taking away the politics, the news, all of this stuff that's divisive. And it was just him, like maybe he and his wife were going to be cooking and drinking some tequila, or his two daughters. This was the funniest one. His two daughters got on his account and they could not figure out what dad did for a living. It was hilarious to watch. But I mean, so I talked to him about it today and I said, hey man, why don't we refire up the hashtag, you know, challenge to lead. And this is something for all of you guys, if you want to jump in on this, go live every day. It could be for 1 minute, 20 minutes, an hour. I don't care what you do, but just talk about something that's inspirational, you know, something that you experience in a positive way. And then just do hashtag challenge to lead, hashtag 2020 strong, and then, you know, hashtag staying handsome or staying beautiful, whatever gender. But just get out there and just start doing something.
Chat as well. Drop those hashtags.
Sure.
And you know, that's something that everybody should be doing every day. If you're on social media, like most of us are a lot, really, it should be about inspiring people. I mean, we can turn on the television and get all the negativity that we want. So if we can't come to social media and try to enhance someone's quality of life just by giving them a positive boost daily, you know, we just need to stay away from it. The world is too crazy right now, and we're in it, so we have to navigate our way through it. And the best way to do that is just remain vigilant about being positive.
You know, Jackie, I think you and I are going to become best friends. I love your attitude.
So. And, I love good friends.
You know, I did.
Right, Clint?
I did.
All right, he is representing today.
You know, I did a show called Mornings with Mcdaniel. I did this a number of years ago, and it was when I would go on to Pinterest, I'd find something, not spiritual, but like inspirational or thought-provoking or something like that. And it wouldn't have to be long, but I sit there and I have the gift of gab, so I'll just sit there and riff on whatever my thoughts are and just verbally puke on whoever's going to watch that for 20, 30 minutes. And I did it as my own personal journal, like a way to vent, a way to kind of work through thoughts in my brain. And I thought maybe other people would like it. And it worked so well I quit doing it, so I'm going to reinstitute it. But you wouldn't believe the people that would watch it. I would have people come up to me all over town, even my family who live in different states. They would just be like, oh my God, Greg, I didn't have time to watch your Mornings with Mcdaniel today, but I watched it at lunch. It's exactly what I needed to hear.
I don't know, probably Stephen, you may have seen these because they probably pop up on my page on social media, but every single Friday, my husband does this thing called Check-In Friday, and I'm telling you, it is hilarious, but it brings so much joy. And when he first started doing it, he was like, boy, people are going to think this is so crazy. He goes to different locations throughout the city, whatever he's close to during the day, and he'll just do a Check-In Friday, and, you know, he'll give a little positive talk, and then he'll talk about wherever he is. If it's like he does things from the bell tower, we have friends that own restaurants downtown. Downtown's just sort of on the down and out right now as a result of all that's going on. So he likes to go downtown and support some of the restaurants. So people started sending him messages asking if he would come to their location and do his Check-In Friday. That's awesome. And I love it because it just brings so much joy to people when they log on and they see him do something crazy. Like he mentors a lot of the young men that he's coached or college students, and he has one as an NBA player who comes home weekly. He loves Derek. They go to different places, and TJ Warren. He can get Derek to do anything crazy. You have to check out this video, and I'll try to post a link to it, where they're at this game place where there's putt-putt golf or something. And there's a DJ, and he's playing this crazy music, move your hips to it or something. All of a sudden, Derek just breaks out dancing. And that was the check-in Friday, and I'm telling you, hundreds of people were emailing, asking, can you please come do a check-in Friday? And he goes to Nourish, the shake place over on Capitol Boulevard, almost every day. That's his favorite health food place. He goes for his healthy shake, and he does check-in Friday from Nourish. And it's just really a wonderful thing. And I love seeing that. And this month is a busy month for me because I have a lot of, my husband just celebrated his 60th birthday, and I took over social media. We got since we couldn't have a big birthday gathering, I got all the people that he's crossed paths from his life that are close to him to send him videos. I received close to 100 videos of video messages for happy birthday, and I combined them into one video and just started sharing them all over social media. And that was his virtual birthday gift from me, in addition to the 60-something cupcakes where we wanted to support a small business, and they were doing a cupcake drive. So I reached out to them, and they were able to do 59 cupcakes in the formation of 60. And we donated the cupcakes to a local church downtown Raleigh. But he got to have a birthday celebration. And he shared it with the world because it was all over social media. And it just made me feel so good to bring such joy to people. So it's a whole lot of things that you can do, Greg. And I really appreciate what you're doing. It's a lot that we can do to just bring joy to people.
It can be simple. I mean, you have to be observant and see what people are reacting to in your social media. So at the beginning of COVID, I was having people share dog photos, lots of dog photos. Mm-hmm. And it got some engagement. But then I just started sharing the dinners that I made. I said, this is what's for dinner at the Elliot house. And then I started getting feedback of people all over the country saying, well, this is what they're having at the Elliot's house.
And the dinner ones are awesome.
Because people had pleasure in that, because it's part of the sanity right now is to have something that's regular, and that's having a good meal with your family and hopefully with some of your friends. But back to the question, Jackie, because I want to give you the opportunity. If we could have a magic wand and do anything together, what would that look like?
I think I kind of just answered that question. Just bring joy to people together. Do something unique and innovative that makes people happy. And like today, for instance, this month is a busy birthday month for me. My brother and my great niece have birthdays today. So I explored something I hadn't done before. I used TikTok, and I have to tell you, it was comical. But I created TikTok videos for the two of them, and they were just overjoyed and thought it was the funniest thing in the world. So if we could do something together, it would just come up with ways to make people happy. Even if it is going out of your element and creating a funny TikTok, simple things. But it's the little things in life, the simple things in life that bring people joy. And I'm easy to please, but the day when people can send me things that make me laugh, a motivational note, or it just makes me happy. It makes me happy. It doesn't take much. So if we could do one thing together, that's what I'd like to do.
Excellent. Thank you for your great answer. Dr. Holly, welcome. First of all, what success have you had in the last week? And then we'll jump into the question.
Well, business for me continues to still be really good, but I think one of the things I'm most excited about is I'm partnering with Mike Manning and Trinity French, to do a 3-series free video seminar starting on October 14th called Recruitment, Retention, and Results, Oh My. So we're going to be targeting leaders who have been struggling, trying to pull out of COVID, out of this pandemic, and still be able to have a strong presence with their teams, help their teams be strong, help them be productive. And we're excited about that.
Excellent. And if you could, if we could have a magic wand, wave a magic wand and do anything together, what would that look like?
So I've loved the answers that I've heard so far. They've been great. I would combine two things that I love, but with a purpose. So I would probably take some of you all with me, and we would go on a trip around the world. And I would go in search of the Stephen David Elliots, the Domenic Battistellas, and the Clint Webbs of Europe and Asia and Africa. And I would do that because I really feel like if we start looking at what's going on within all other cultures and other countries, we realize sooner than later that we have more in common than we do that divides us. I think it's a super good idea for people to travel, and especially, I mean, the younger you are, the better you are if you're traveling, because then you realize, number one, you're not the center of the universe. There's a lot of people out there, and then it allows you to see the commonalities and the goodness in many different arenas in life.
That's fantastic. A local lender here just made a post recently. He said that the hell with it. You know, he feels that his kids are not getting the education that was promised to them.
Yep.
So let's take a pause. And he's going on a 50-state tour with his family.
Beautiful.
They're going to hit all 50 states. That's the plan. Everything in between, there is no plan. I was like, that's a great attitude, and we should take the opportunity to do those things. The United States, my brother was talking about, Europe. You have to go to Europe more, and you have to go to, travel overseas. I said, that's great. That's terrific. But there's so much in the United States I have yet to see, or I haven't seen as an adult, or, my children haven't seen them, or I haven't experienced it with my wife. And so you can go back to the same places and experiencing them in different ways. Like we went to Katy, down to Charleston, and we were there. I've been there a few times now, but it's only like 2 days at a time. You really can't see a town in 2 days. And we didn't hook up with any locals like Katy who would really show us, what the city is like. So I agree with you, travel and finding like-minded people would be a great thing. One of the things that Rockstar Connect does do is pop-up events. So when our hosts do travel around the country, if they want the opportunity to meet people in other cities when they travel, we can do that for them. So Greg was going to Dallas and he had a meeting, and he also wanted to meet, 20 or 30 people on that trip. We put him in a room with those people. I'm sure he would do very well in that room with those people.
I know that when I was growing up, my parents were very intentional about doing that with my sister and I. And I'm actually, Greg, I'm from Long Beach, Orange County, California.
All right. I used to live in San Pedro, so I was your neighbor.
There you go. And I moved here from Washington State. My dad was from Oklahoma. My mother was from Indiana, but she lived for 20 years in D.C. We went across the country, I don't know how many times.
Well, next time you go back to Long Beach, you should let us do an event for you there, because we have a great list.
There you go. But also outside the U.S. I just think it helps us to realize that even though there are differences, we're all kind of the same when it boils down to, brass tacks.
Well, although we can't necessarily fly to all those places now, it's a good opportunity to look on our LinkedIn to see people and reach out to them. Domenic, you're
sir.
You're the last one to get a shot at this question, so you should have the absolute best answer of everyone.
Oh my goodness. Well, if I could wave a magic wand and do anything, I would finally get you and Sarah out to the speakeasy one of these days, since you've been threatening to do it for so long and you just haven't. So, I mean, I thought my answer was pretty obvious. We were
actually planning on doing it this week, but we have a surprise guest coming from South Florida, Adam Bricker, who's a panelist.
Oh, bring him along.
Maybe we can do that.
Dude, that's what I was about to say. Why wouldn't you bring Bricker?
Yeah.
So Adam just got engaged this week as well.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
He's moving away from Florida and the beach to Vancouver, Canada. So big changes for him.
That's a huge change. That's like as far away from Florida as you could possibly go.
And as far away from the beach as you can go as well.
Well, I mean, it's pretty close to the beach, but it's not the same to be in Vancouver.
speaking of panelists who aren't with us today, happy birthday to Katya Rav.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's her birthday.
Well, happy birthday to her. Now, Greg is on the show. I always like to take advantage when he's on the show because how long have you been doing a podcast on a regular basis?
5 years.
Blow people's minds.
A little over 5 years.
5 years, and how many shows is that? That's hundreds of shows.
Yeah, I think we're pushing 700 or 800 shows. So
700 or 800 shows. So that's tremendous discipline. That's harder than going to the gym every day.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, a lot of people don't want to be on video. They're not comfortable with it. You're doing a great job with it, and you always bring us something, a tip where we can enhance our social media and our ability to make ourselves well known. Do you have anything special for us today?
Yeah, it might for all of the realtors out there. This will kind of ring true. I contribute to Inman News on a weekly basis with my good friend Bernice Ross, and she kind of opened my mind to this idea, and I executed on it now twice, and it's been absolutely knock out of the parks, success. And this could probably be used in any other medium as well. So what we're doing is to stand out. And I took a $1.8 million listing with his exact technique, and I have never met my sellers ever once in my entire life. If they walked past me on the street, I literally would not know what they look like. And so what the trick in the matter is the fact that you go and build a business page for each one of your new listings. And you use the name of the address of the property to be the name of the business. You fill all the information in. You fill all the stuff that they ask you to fill in. The thing that I like about this the most is that it's like a living business card, but it's like a pixel. You can grow this thing as big as you want with as much content as you want. So one of the things that I did is I uploaded all the videos, all the live videos, all the photos, everything that would pertain to the property. And then I went out and I found content about the area. So one of the properties was in a country club. So I went and got the history of the country club, linked some YouTube videos to it. I linked some content. Then I got the history of the town that it was in. COVID landed squarely on my forehead right when this was taking place. So I was going to go out and do some live videos, but you can create live videos. You can do interviews. You can, write blogs. You can get that, get your videos transcribed for basically nothing, and have that now written word sitting there as well. Interview the homeowner, interview neighbors. You can really make it come alive, and then boost it for $5 or $10 in a geographical area around the property. It does two things. One, no other marketer is doing anything like this. Two, you are getting in front of people who may or may not be searching, or maybe who might be thinking about doing something but haven't voiced anything. You can pick up buyers directly from that. And then three, you stand out so far ahead of your competition, because all you have to do is say, hey, take a look at what I built for some of my other clients. These have been my results. Would you like the same results? And of course, they're going to say yes, because I'd never heard anybody doing this, and Bernice pushed me to do it. And so I went out and I did do it. And I've been over the top excited about it. And then I guess the other thing.
You use that in your listing presentations? You show people what you're going to do for their property?
Yep, absolutely. One of our $4.8 million listings, I just did it for them. We did it for the other 1.8. And we have a couple of new properties coming on. I'm going to do the same thing. It doesn't matter if you're a $2 listing or a $200 million listing. It's still the same wow factor, especially when we get into ultra luxury. The ultra luxury, they're not going to put their home on the MLS. They're not going to do brokers tours, not going to do Sunday open houses. So this gives the people the ability who aren't actively searching, because you can't see it on Zillow, who can see the property and they can get an idea of what's in the property. So that's one thing. And then, messing around with the idea of I use a lavalier microphone called a Task Cam, and the Task Cams, I have two lavaliers for these guys, but with COVID, a lot of people aren't too keen about being touched at the moment, which is I get it, whatever, fine. But they make a lavalier task. They make a Task Cam that you can basically take like this microphone here, my spare mic. You can plug into the bottom here into a recorder. And then you can do man on the street interviews with your camera mounted on a gimbal. And I think that could be a pretty interesting thing that I've been messing around with kind of mentally, just to kind of get like Jacqueline was talking about, like the touch base Fridays. What is it called? Check-in Fridays? I think it's check-in Fridays.
Check-in Fridays.
Okay, good. I got it the second time. First time was a disaster. But it's just doing those small things, being visible in your community, and not asking for sales, but asking how, and this is the number one question you ask people that no one's ever asked. You know what? Hey, Stephen, I really appreciate you having me on the show today. You know, how can I help you build your business? Who can I connect you with? No one gets asked that. No one gets asked that question. They just don't get asked it because we're all so self-absorbed. Not you panelists, not you viewers, but everyone else is. And just ask how you can bring value. Who can I connect you with? How can I help you grow your business? Like, what does your perfect client look like? And then sit there and listen.
Yeah. Well, what are you trying to achieve, and how can I help you achieve it?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Which all our hosts ask their attendees. I can see the wheels turning. Katie loves social media ideas. How would you apply that idea to your not-for-profit? Would you make a page for every school, or?
Well, we do make like a Facebook event for it usually, but no, I probably wouldn't make I don't know. We've thrown that idea around, but I like to keep everything on like one Going Places page. But a lot of times we'll make like an event page for the bike reveal. We actually always do that. We'd make an event for the bike reveal so people can get information about that specific event. But otherwise, everything's just on Going Places page.
Excellent. Greg, you should connect with Katie. Katie has a great course on teaching people on how to start their own not-for-profit.
Love that.
Is fantastic. And unlike a lot of not-for-profits, she has the social media piece in there perfectly.
Well, Katie, I'd love to chat with you. I'll send you a quick message here, and we'll connect on either Facebook or something like that, and we'll go from there.
Perfect.
Because I mean, for the real estate community, I actually partnered with a bike company here called Mike's Bikes, and what we did is we didn't do it to the level that you did it or doing it. Excuse me. But we went and we collected bikes for them, and then they would rehab them and then send them over to Africa for the women and children to ride to get the food or go to school or whatever else. And I love that. And it's people, everyone's got bikes floating around somewhere. I mean, get those rusted POSs. Let's get them out, get them fixed, get them over to someone who's going to use them.
Yeah, there's a bunch of nonprofits that that's what they do is they take rehab bikes and they like we don't do that. Like we custom make our bikes, so they're all the same. And we put our logo on them. And if we have a specific sponsor who sponsors them all, we put their logo on them. So it's really good marketing. They stand out. We get them at cost. People people still are like, oh my gosh, I saw a kid on one of your bikes yesterday. And so they still remember, like they notice it versus like a regular bike. Someone just dumped it in.
I think it would really work out well in California where people can bike so often and businesses really need to stand out and are looking for creative ways to market themselves.
And they're good quality. We use Kent bikes. They're number 3 in the country behind Schwinn and Huffy. And so every year the bikes are white and then a neon color, and we switch out the neon color and we name the bikes. So this year's bikes are called the Adventure. Last year was the Pursuit. Before that was the Purpose. Before that it was the Future. All of it's kind of like with a little bit of joy in your life, you can do these things. And so they're just really special. They're high quality. It's something that's different. These kids don't have anything like that.
Well, the thing I like about that so much is that you're bringing a valuable asset to the community, 0 emission cost, right? And it's giving someone who might need to get out and do a little exercise, you're giving them an opportunity to go out and do it. I mean, in San Francisco Bay Area, we have those rent-a-bikes everywhere, everywhere. And I got to tell you, they're pretty stinking fun. But it would be more fun because my mind's running 100 miles an hour on this because there's been stats showing to the fact that people will work with you, doesn't matter what your business are, at a 14% increase if you have the same philanthropic mindset. So very fascinating. I just sent you a link to my Facebook. Let's connect on this because I have a couple of ideas.
Sure, it'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great charity. I mean, it's a great charity for real estate agents as well to support. Because it's simple. What's great about it, I know on your end it's a lot of complication, but for the public it's very simple to understand what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's complicated for you to do, but it's very simple for everyone else to understand. You know, that a bike right now, more than any other time, is freedom, especially for someone, you know, from a lower income background.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these homes are not pleasant or predictable. And it gives the kids a way to get out, even if it's for a few hours. I mean, a lot of these kids in these low-income schools, they get a lot of anxiety before long weekends and vacation time because they hate being at home. Schools are a predictable, safe place. And in California, you guys are in virtual school the whole year. I mean, there's like no hybrid, there's no easing back in. So think about all those kids for over a year, starting March through next June, are home. And so a bike gives them a way to get out. It gives them the obvious is exercise. It's something to own a value, which builds confidence. It's a sense of restored innocence when a lot of times that's been taken. It's so much more than what people even think about. You're on mute, Greg.
Sorry about that. We just opened up our playgrounds here today. I actually did a Facebook story about it, or Instagram story about it, going like, finally someone pulled their head out of their posterior and started getting these kids out to do something physical, getting around other kids, getting that social interaction. And bikes, absolutely. I mean, I go for a run every morning to clear my head. I can't imagine these poor kiddos stuck at home with just like chaos around them, which is just can't be good for anybody.
Right. Yeah, they're not adults. They can't just leave, So usually getting on a bike, it's a good way to also play with other kids in the neighborhood. And when you're on a bike, you're not touching, you're outside. I think it's one of the safer social distance activities you could do with someone is ride your bikes. And so it's just a perfect thing for right now to help a lot of these kids.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for what you do. We really appreciate it. And I'm glad that a lot of you are going to be connecting and happy that Greg has come back on the panel to share, what's going on in the West Coast. We're going to be back on next week, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern time, same place. I'd love to see a lot of you again. We have written down all the things that you want to do with your magic wand. And Sarah and I are going to see what we can do to help you accomplish a lot of your goals there and see if Rockstar Connect can participate in that. So everyone, if you could just raise your hand and wave goodbye. We hope to see you again next week. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. RockstarConnect.com.